Today, we're going to talk about the U.S. men's national team for soccer. Going to kind of go over this past Copa America, what we need to see going forward, and kind of just my main thoughts about the team. We'll go ahead and start with Copa America because it was disappointing. Let's be honest. We went into the World Cup 2 years ago as kind of like this underdog, really young team. We had a nice group stage, including like the draw with England. We beat Iran when we needed to with that Pulisic goal. It was great. We lost to the Netherlands, but like when I think every US fan when we saw that Netherlands game, like the Netherlands was the better team, but we were so young. We saw all this potential in all these players. We were like, you know what? I think Copa America in 2 years, this team's gonna get a little bit older. These players are gonna be playing for bigger clubs, and we're gonna look better. And then Copa America came in, man, it was tough, and it's so hard to think because I think it could have gone such a different way. But we'll talk about the team later on. Let's go to Copa America. We start off, we played Bolivia, and we looked good, man. I mean, we should have scored like 4 or 5 goals. We only scored two, but still, we looked good. Everyone's like, okay, that's. We had our friendlies. We got whooped in our first friendly. It was looking bad. And then we played Brazil. We drew Brazil. We were like, okay. And then we have the Bolivia game. It looks good. Everything's kind of looking up for the U.S. We're looking good. And then we go in this Panama game. Everyone's feeling good. We're like, okay. We just got to beat Panama. Then we're automatically through. We don't even have to do anything against Uruguay. And then it was looking good. We had some attacks on Panama early. We had the disallowed goal. It was looking good. And then Tim Weah almost just ruins the entire Copa America tournament for the U.S. by just punching a dude because he got a little shove. Like, it was nothing. And Tim Weah punches the dude, gets the red card, fastest VAR that ref has ever had to do in his life. Gets the red card. Honestly, I thought we were holding up pretty well, especially in the rest of the first half with only 10 men. And then the second half, Berhalter comes out with this five at the back, changes everything up, and we were still holding on for a little while. I thought we played pretty well. We had a couple opportunities. Pepe missed like one of the easiest headers of his life. We had a couple opportunities. Our defense was, you could tell as the game went on, it was getting weaker and weaker. And then Panama finally scores in the end, and then we lose that game. And it's hard to say because I feel like we win that game if we have 11 people on the field or on the pitch. Sorry, I got to soccer terms. If we have 11 people on the pitch, I think we win that game. But we didn't. Tim Weah hurts, and then Tim Weah ends up getting suspended. No surprise. We go into that Uruguay. Like, if you told me from the start, hey, we're going to lose to Uruguay 1-0 and it's going to be awful, the ref is going to be one of the worst refs we've seen. Like, I mean, the when he played advantage trying to show a yellow, and then he doesn't play advantage on the handball for the U.S. The offsides goal, I mean, it wasn't offsides. It was tough because it was so close. It wasn't offsides, but like, I watched that game and like everyone's like, "Oh, there was awful refing. Team USA lost." And I'm like, "Yes, the refing was awful in that Uruguay game, but they were also just a better team." Like, I mean, I don't walk out there as a US fan being like, "We should have won that game." No, we should have. I mean, maybe it should have been a draw, but they were the better team. I'm not surprised. And if we lost 0-1 to Uruguay before the tournament, I'm not surprised. They might be the best team in the tournament. They just beat Brazil in penalties yesterday. So it's like they're an incredible team. I'm not surprised we lost to them. It's really just the Panama game that you look back and you're like, I can't believe we lost that. But then we played 10 men. So it's kind of hard to see. And I think we have a lot of takeaways from this Copa America because it was really important. Like I said, there was no expectations in 2022 in that World Cup. We had no or was it 2021? Whatever. There was no expectations in that World Cup. We just kind of went in there and it was like, hey, if we make out the group, we're looking good. We win a game, we're going crazy. Like the draw for England was Greg Berhalter's like call to fame is that he drew England. I mean, we've won the Nations League. We've beaten, Mexico and Canada, but they're not like top tier teams. They're good teams, but they're not like top tier teams. So we need to see ourselves against top tier teams because we're hosting the World Cup in 2026, and that's a huge opportunity for us in the U.S. team to kind of put soccer back on the map in the U.S. And that defeat, like I said, it's hard, but like when you're looking back at it, I want to look at the team and see kind of what I think about the pieces where we need to replace and some of the biggest things. I think one of the biggest things that really hurt us was I think two of our better players. I think Pulisic is still our best player. I'll talk about Pulisic in a little. I still think he's our best player, but I think two of our next like four best players are Serginho Dest, who missed the entire tournament because of injury. And I think that was huge, especially when Weah went out, because now we have two guys not used to playing on that right side. Because if you go back and watch World Cup, I mean, Dest was one of those guys. He was not only defending, but he was starting a lot of opportunities up the wing. Him and Weah. So I think Dest was one of those guys. I think we missed him a lot on that right side because Scally Scally did all right in defense. I don't think he was great, but Scally didn't provide any of that attacking opportunity. He didn't really start any breaks, but like because Destin Weah were really creating most of our opportunities up that right hand side in the World Cup, and we just didn't have any of that in Copa America. So I think he was huge. And then Tyler Adams not being at full health was also huge because you can see he just commands that midfield when he's healthy. We saw that against Uruguay. He was really good against Uruguay when he played most of the game. And then we get into like questionable coaching and stuff too, because like Greg Berhalt's, like, I don't know why he didn't play Musa, especially in that second game. He came on the first game. Yunus Musa came on the first game. And I thought he looked good, and he just doesn't play in the second game. And then he decides to start him in the third game. He looks great again. I think Yunus Musa are like, I think him, Adams, and McKinney are our three best midfields. Reyna, you can kind of. Reyna is definitely one of our better players too. I think he maybe could play more in the attack. Like we saw him play out on the right when Tim Weah was out, but we have a lot of good midfielders. And I think Balogun stepped up front. I think he's the striker we've been waiting for. It sucked that he got injured in that Uruguay game, but like Flo Balogun, I think is going to be a stud. Christian Pulisic is holding it down, but the I'll talk about Pulisic now. The one thing I feel good about Pulisic is he's our best player. He's a very good player, but like if you watch NBA, I think I compare him to Donovan Mitchell. He's like a guy where he's a great player. Donovan Mitchell is a great basketball player. He has incredible 50, 60-point games. He's incredible, but like you don't really have, when you have Donovan Mitchell as your number one guy, you're not like, oh, we're gonna go to the championship this year. It's not like you have like LeBron or Giannis or Jokic. Oh, okay, we're competing for a title. It's like you have Donovan Mitchell. Like, okay, we're gonna be a good team, but I don't know if we can compete for a title. I think that's Pulisic as our number one. Like he's a great player, but I don't know if he can be the number one to carry a squad. I think he can be part of like a good number two, or he can part of kind of a committee squad. But if he's just like your far and away number one trying to carry a squad, he's not a Messi. He's not a Ronaldo. You know, he's not one of those dudes that's going to take the level up for the entire team. So I think that's the issue. Like I said, he's a great player, but one other thing I think we're missing when you watch a lot of like, especially the Euros, and you watch like Vinny playing in like Mbappe, and some of these are just the speed down the wings to be able to just play through balls, get behind the defense, and get those easy goal opportunities. We just didn't have any of that. We just don't have speed. I think Balogun showed flashes of it. I don't think Pulisic's the fastest guy. He definitely has some speed. The where that speed came from in the World Cup was Tim Weah, and then he ends up missing basically 2 of the 3 games in Copa America after punching the dude. He was supposed to be our speed guy, so him being out, I think, really hurt that. Like, because Reyna, yeah, get really good player, but he's not like a super fast guy. Same with Balogun. It's like we're having all these slow play-ups, and that's why we're not getting those like easy, like break the line defense kind of one-on-one with the goalkeeper goals. We never have those. Everything's just going to be so much harder, and especially we're not really like a wing and cross the ball kind of team. You see that with some of the teams, like Spain was doing that a lot. I think what Switzerland yesterday against England was doing that. Like you play the wings, cross the ball, and try and get a header and it to fall. That's just not really our style of play. We kind of play up the wings and then play it back towards the middle, which just didn't really work. The style of play just kind of didn't match our players, I think, when you watch it. I think that's one of the big things with Greg Bolton. Not only his substitutions were kind of wild. Like I don't know why we need to see Carter Vickers in that Panama game. He almost every tackle, I feel like he's going to get a red card or a penalty for us. Like it's very suspect in there. But I think Greg Berhalter, there's supposed to be a decision this week on whether or not he's going to stay or go. So maybe I'll make another video if he stays or goes. I think we just need a fresh voice in there. I think we need another schematic guy. I would love like a guy like Pep Guardiola coming over from Man City. I think he's got like one more year left on his deal over there at City. But like a guy like him with his stature, I think a lot of coaches would want the U.S. job. I think money comes into play because like there's rules with like the U.S. where we can only pay our men's soccer coach only a certain amount just because like rules we have with like different things where like we can't pay our coach as much as some of these other nations like, you know, England and Germany and Spain and those other like big European nations. We can't pay as much just because of rules we have set up within the US. But like, I mean, like if you're a coach and you come in, or sorry, manager, and you come in and you bring US in a 2026 World Cup in the US, you bring us even just like a semifinal or a quarterfinal win, like that would be huge. You would almost get like cement yourself in U.S. soccer history. Like you don't have to go win the World Cup. You just have to get close and make us think we can, and then we good because like we have good talent. And breaking down the roster is kind of one of the last things I want to do. I want to look at the roster and see. It's kind of hard because you can't say like, oh, we need to go out and get this dude, go out and get this dude, because it's like a national team. It's not like a club team where you just go get transfers and pay for dudes. What you got to kind of build them up. And just looking at the team, some of the keepers, I think that like, hey, these dudes are part of our squad. They're not going anywhere. Definitely Pulisic, he's not going anywhere. Balogun proved plenty to me to prove that he should be our starting striker. He's not going anywhere. Tyler Adams, he's not going anywhere. He's the center of our midfield. I think Weston McKennie's not going anywhere. I think he maybe, I thought, and maybe a lot of others thought he would have a bigger role. He's not necessarily lived up to, like, I thought he would be like one of our 2 or 3 best players on the team. He's not necessarily lived up to that, but he's still a good player. I think Gio Reyna is going to still be part of this squad. He showed a lot of flash, especially in that last game when he played out on the right wing instead of Tim Weah. I think those dudes are solidified. I think Anthony Robinson at left back was arguably our best player that whole tournament. I thought just his ability to not only defend and lock down that left, but he also helped create a lot of opportunities. Him and Pulisic play off of each other really well. So I think that left side is locked down with Pulisic and Anthony Robinson. I think goalkeeper, I think Matt Turner was all right. I don't think he was great. Same with, I don't even remember the backup's name that came in for Panama. I mean, he probably could have saved the goal that Panama scored, so I'm not saying he was great. I think Tim Ream was solid. He's getting pretty old, though, so we'll see where he is in 2 years. I don't know about that one. Chris Richards, I thought up and down. He makes some good plays, makes some bad plays. I wouldn't say he's solidified part of his squad going forward, but it's not like we have a lot of depth at center back anyway. Dest, I think, is solidified it at that right back when he gets healthy, as long as he doesn't come back like unfit from his injury. As long as he's healthy, I think Dest would be solidified right back. Scally, I didn't think would play because I don't think Scally played bad, but I definitely think Dest would have brought a whole different kind of nature to that. And then looking at the right wing, Tim Weah, I mean, I was a big fan of Tim Weah after like the World Cup, and I thought he looked good early on. Like I said, he kind of brought that speed element to that right and just being able to start those attacks for us. But man, you can't punch someone and get a red card in like the first 20 minutes of a game against Panama that we needed to win. Because like, let's be honest, if you're just, you knew it was gonna be tough to get a result against Uruguay, so we needed to win that Panama game, and Tim Weah kind of screwed us over on that one. So I'm not gonna say Tim Weah is solidified in the squad. I'd still love to see him. He's still one of our better players, but I think the team needs to be based around Tyler Adams, Flo Balogun, Christian Pulisic, and our fullbacks. I think those are like our elite players. The rest of the guys, I mean, we don't have anyone that I think can step up. We have some solid bench players. I think Pepe is one of those weird dudes where he always gets in the best scoring opportunities. I think he had the most expected goals in the entire Copa America group stage, but he didn't score any. Like, he had an easy header that he heads right into the goalkeeper. He missed a sitter. He had and then there was like another opportunity where I think it was Haji Wright had an opportunity to lay it off to Pepe to score an easy goal, but he ends up deciding to shoot himself. This was against Uruguay. Like, we have those, what we do is we get into good opportunities, but we just don't have those guys that finish. And then you go and you watch like the Euros and you watch these dudes just high level skill, and you watch like Saka's goal for England. Like, I mean, Balogun's the only one on our team that's going to score goals like that, or Pulisic. Like, we just don't have anyone else beside those guys. So I think we just need to get those guys playing at higher levels, because I don't think we can bring anyone else. I think a new manager coming in, changing up the scheme, playing to our guys' advantages is going to help a lot. And then the last thing I'm going to leave this off on before, because the 2026 World Cup is going to be a huge opportunity for us. Like, I thought this was our best opportunity in Copa America to play good, give ourselves a good challenge before the World Cup to kind of get ourselves ready. We don't have the luxury of that anymore because we decided to go out in the group stage. But like, we're hosting the World Cup in 2026. We got to show up for this. And maybe there's part of me that's like, maybe this loss like energize. They finally, okay, we're gonna make a move, get a new manager, finally energize our players. Like, hey guys, we let the whole nation down in Copa America. We're not doing it again in 2026. So maybe there's part of that. But I think the biggest thing you notice with Copa America is the toughness just isn't there with this squad. And if you're a European team, you don't necessarily need that same toughness. There's a lot of skill in Europe, and there are more high players. But when you're playing in Copa America and you're playing against Uruguay, Panama, Colombia, Brazil, these South American nations, they're going to play tough. And you got to match their toughness, or else you're not going to be able to win. Because Uruguay and Panama just bullied us the whole game. I mean, the amount of fouls that they had without, like, I think it was in the Uruguay game, they had like 3 times as many fouls as us, and we had more yellow cards because we can't. They know how to foul and play tough without going over that limit, whereas we don't. We retaliate in ways that we shouldn't. we do dumb stuff and they get in our heads and they're just playing tougher ball than us. And I think maybe there's a wake up call in this Copa America that, like, hey, because like Canada and the old Mexico would have brought that. Mexico's a little bit of a different team now. But like those teams that we play in the CONCACAF isn't going to give us that same toughness as these South American teams. And that toughness is something that I think the U.S. could use, because if we can learn that toughness from these South American teams, that's how these South American teams beat a lot of these European teams who might be more talented than them. They beat them with toughness, and we don't have the toughness or the talent. So we can't go out and find the talent, but we can find that toughness in the squad. So I think that's what we need to do. We need a new manager, come in, give us some new schemes, and find a toughness, because U.S. guys, we're brought up in these more, like, a lot of these guys are brought up not necessarily playing, but like you're watching like football. We got tough sports here, like where dudes are banging. We grow up like, yeah, we're not born up in like some of these South American countries where all they know is soccer. They're born and bred soccer and skill and playing it. We're born and bred with different sports, but we can use that to our advantage and use that toughness that some of these guys get growing up playing different sports in soccer. And I think that's just something we need to bring. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Team US down. I'm going to be doing more overall sports topics on this channel. I want to be covering some of the U.S. Olympics. I'll be doing a video about the U.S. basketball team. I just want to cover more sports on this channel on top, because I just love a lot of different sports. I think soccer is one of the ones I'm finding really interesting. Let me know who you guys think is going to win Copa. I got Uruguay. I think they're just playing tough right now. They're playing better than everyone else. I got them. Euros is looking exciting too. We got some great soccer going on right now. Yes, I'm calling it soccer, not football, because I live in America. It is what it is. Let me know what you guys think about the U.S. squad, any changes you think we should make, what you guys think about Greg Berhalter and any of this things I made, any of the players, how they performed, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Thank you for watching.